Shocking! Billionaire CO dials wrong number at 3 a.m., and a boy's cry forever changed his life. In the dead of the night, the world outside looked ordinary, yet inside the penthouse suite of billionaire Alex Wilder, chaos was brewing. The sharp sound of a ringing phone shattered the silence, piercing through layers of luxury and darkness. Alex fumbled, groggy, the city lights outside casting ghostly shadows on his face. Who would dare call him at this hour? His heart raced as he answered, expecting maybe a late-night deal or a desperate investor. But instead, a child's voice broke through the static, raw and trembling. "Help me! Please, you have to help me!" Those words hung in the air like a dark cloud. There was something haunting about the boy's plea, something that felt achingly real. The chill ran down Alex's spine, his expensive silk sheets feeling more like a prickly cage. Who was this child? Why was he calling a billionaire in the middle of the night? And why did his voice echo with the weight of desperation? For a moment, it felt as if the world outside blurred, leaving just the boy's haunting call as the only sound that mattered. He rose from his bed, feet meeting the cold floor, his mind racing. Every heartbeat drummed with urgency. "Where are you?" he demanded, trying to keep his voice steady. The boy's reply was barely a whisper. "In the dark, I can't see." It was a simple statement, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 nightmares. In that instant, nostalgia hit him hard, memories bubbling up of a childhood spent in fear, the shadows beyond his room, the feeling of abandonment. Vivid images flashed through his mind like a film reel, his own nights of loneliness and confusion. The call ended abruptly, and silence reverberated. Alex stood frozen, the phone clutched tightly, knuckles white with tension. What did it mean? Why had he been chosen for this call? Outside, the wind howled like a restless spirit, wrapping around the building as if urging him to act, to answer the child's desperate cry. He could feel the weight of the moment, the gravity pulling him toward a decision he never expected to face. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Alex's heart raced again, as visions of the boy filled the vast silence. "I can't see." Those words echoed in his mind like a thunderclap, sending shivers down his spine once more. What did it mean? Was the boy trapped somewhere? Abandoned? He paced the floor, a mix of fear and determination igniting a fire in his chest. He couldn't ignore this. Something deep within said it was more than just a wrong number. It felt like a call to action. The walls of his safe, calculated billionaire life were closing in, and he could feel the weight of a promise yet to be fulfilled. What if he failed? What if this boy was truly lost in the night, with no one else to hear him? The thought clenched Alex's gut. There had to be a way to find him. But how? The city was a labyrinth of secrets, and he was just one man. As uncertainty washed over him, the question pulsed like an urgent heartbeat, lingering in the air. Who was this boy, and what would he uncover in his quest to find him? The morning sun sliced through the blinds, splattering light across the room. But Alex was already wide awake, adrenaline coursing through him. He had been pacing for hours, lost in thought. The call had rattled him to the core, a stark reminder of a childhood he thought he'd left behind. But now, that very memory ignited a sense of urgency stronger than he ever thought he could feel at 4 a.m. He grabbed his phone and scrolled through the recent calls. No sign of the number. It had disappeared into the ether, and as much as he tried, he couldn't shake off the image of that frightened boy's voice. If he hoped to find him, he needed a plan. Just a few minutes later, he stood before his enormous floor-to-ceiling window, gazing at the city below. It thrived with life. But he felt like an outsider. The looming skyscrapers trapped him in a fortress of loneliness. He needed help. Alex turned to his laptop. He quickly skimmed through the city's missing children reports, desperately searching for leads. Names blurred in front of his eyes. But then he stumbled upon a photo that made his heart stutter. A boy around 10 years old, wide eyes filled with a combination of fear and innocence, matching the eeriness of the voice from the call. The report dated back 2 weeks, tracking him last seen in a neighborhood not far from his penthouse. Time rushed forward like an unseen wave. Each tick of the clock became a vivid reminder. The child could still be out there, waiting. He wasted no time, sliding into his tailored suit, urgency pulsing beneath his polished exterior. Moments later, he was racing out of the building, each step hammering the rhythm of not only his heart but a sense of responsibility that clawed at him. Arriving at the neighborhood, Alex was met with a different world. The streets were littered with shadows and solitude, the kind of place that spoke in whispers. This wasn't the polished world he navigated daily. The air was thick with an unsettling atmosphere. As he approached a group of kids playing ball, laughter rang out like a beacon, but it felt distant and foreign. He introduced himself, overwhelmed by apprehension, desperately throwing out questions about the boy. They stared back at him, confusion mingled with curiosity swirling in their young eyes. "You mean Jason?" One girl finally piped up, her voice small but clear. "He disappeared when it got dark. We heard he could be anywhere." The words settled heavily in the air. Anywhere. It was as if someone had taken his marrow and left only an empty shell. "Do you think he's okay?" Alex's voice cracked, revealing a hint of humanity beneath his steely facade. The girl shrugged, but another boy piped up. "People say he saw something he shouldn't have, that he was trying to escape." The innocence in the children's faces morphed into shadows of fear, and Alex's gut twisted. Escape from what? What kind of danger lurked here? Before he could process the implications, a distant scream echoed. It cut through the laughter, a raw, piercing sound that gripped him with icy fingers. It was a familiar scream, one laced with fear and desperation. In that moment, every part of him surged forward as he shouted, "That way! Come on!" Around the corner, he and the children charged, breathless and frantic. With every second, the distance to that scream felt like a race against fate. Would he be too late? Would the shadows swallow the last glimmer of hope? Alex had no answers as he pushed forward, the weight of the child's cry burning in his heart like an urgent ember. What was waiting around the corner, and would he have the courage to face it? They raced around the corner, the pounding of Alex's heart thundering in his ears, every uncertain step fueled by fear and determination. The scream had faded, replaced by an unsettling silence that left the air thick, as if the world itself was holding its breath. He caught sight of a dark alley, the deep shadows beckoning. It was there, Alex thought, where nightmares lurked. "Stay close," he urged the kids, who hesitated at the alley's entrance, clearly torn between fear and the instinct to help. Alex stepped into the darkness, the sobering scent of damp concrete filling his nostrils. Shadows danced along the walls, and he strained to catch any movement. "Jason!" he called out, his voice echoing against the brick, desperate for a response. Silence. Suddenly, the soft rustle of something, or someone, stirred nearby. Alex's blood ran cold. Adrenaline surged as he moved deeper into the dimly lit space. Each step felt heavier, each second longer, as he strained to see through the gloom. What had he stumbled into? Then he heard it. A quiet whimper, followed by a muffled sob. It pierced through the silence like a bullet, and every muscle in his body tightened. "Jason!" he shouted again, louder this time. "I'm here to help you." "Who's there?" a voice whimpered back, trembling. "It's okay, I'm Alex. I'm looking for you. Are you hurt?" His heart raced as he saw a figure crouching in the corner, small and shivering. A boy, scared and alone, emerged from the shadows. His clothes were dirty, his face streaked with tears and grime, eyes wide with uncertainty. "I don't want to go back," Jason whispered, his voice breaking. "Back where?" Alex asked, kneeling to meet his gaze, trying to mask the urgency in his tone with gentleness. "You're safe now. I promise. Out there they'll find me." Jason's eyes darted past Alex, panic washing over his features. What do you mean? Who will find you? Alex pressed, fear gripping him tightly. I saw them. The men they're looking for me, Jason said, trembling. His words sent chills racing down Alex's spine. Before he could respond, shifting footsteps echoed from the alley entrance. The soft light from the street cast shadows that grew darker, menacing figures emerging ominously. Alex's mind raced. He needed to protect Jason and fast. Come with me, he said urgently, grabbing Jason's trembling hand. We have to go now. As they bolted from the alley, Alex's instincts kicked in. His heart beat like a drum in his chest as the threats drew ever closer. They dodged between buildings, the chaos of the city becoming a blur around them. He could hear their pursuers shouting, voices grating on his nerves, heightening the urgency enveloping them like a swirling storm. Where were they? What had Jason seen? Answers swirled in his mind, but there was no time for questions. He felt responsible for this boy, the weight of his well-being hanging over him like a storm cloud desperate to release its burden. Suddenly, a heavy hand clamped onto his shoulder from behind. Alex whipped around, heart racing, ready to fight anything that stood in their way. But what met his eyes was far worse than he'd anticipated. It was a face he recognized, a man from his past, someone he thought he'd never see again. Alex, the man sneered, his voice cold and calculated. You've chosen the wrong side this time. The revelation struck Alex like lightning. They were after Jason because of him. Get away from him! Alex barked, shielding Jason behind him. The man laughed, a low, sinister sound. You don't understand, this is bigger than you. With his heart racing and danger looming like an eclipse, Alex realized he had to act, and fast. But could he protect Jason while confronting the nightmare unfolding before them? There was no turning back now. The storm was only just beginning. What dark secrets lay at the heart of this pursuit, and could Alex save the boy before it was too late? The man's smirk deepened, exposing the malice lurking behind his dark eyes. Alex's breath caught in his throat as the tension tightened around them like a noose. His instincts screamed for him to run, but Jason's fearful grip on his arm held him in place. Back off! Alex shouted, fury bubbling under his skin. He could scarcely recognize the figure standing before him, a ghost from his childhood that had haunted his dreams. You don't have to do this. Do what? The man shot back, feigning innocence. I'm just here to collect what you owe. Jason trembled violently behind Alex, his small form a beacon of vulnerability. Panic surged through Alex's veins. What do you want with him? Simple, the man replied, stepping closer, shadows swallowing him whole. I want him, and I want you to come back to the fold. It's time to stop running. No! I'll never go back. Alex spat, fighting the memories clawing at the edges of his mind. The man's laughter echoed in the alley, chilling and bitter. You don't understand what's at stake here. He's a key, everything depends on him. Key? Alex echoed, confusion ripping through him. Key to what? He could see it now, Jason's fearful eyes darting around, his young mind trying to process the unfolding chaos. They were in danger, and Alex couldn't let this man control their fate. The sound of footsteps echoed from behind, a loud thud against the pavement. A new figure loomed, tall and menacing. The alley suddenly felt too small, like the walls were closing in. Time to make a choice, Alex. You can have the boy or you can have your freedom. Stay behind me, he urged Jason, whose eyes were wide with terror. I won't let them take you. Such bravery, the first man mocked, but it won't save you. You're in over your head. He gestured toward the towering figure, and it took a menacing step forward. From the corner of his eye, Alex noticed a glint of metal, a knife clutched in the newcomer's hand. The icy realization washed over him. This wasn't just a confrontation, it was a trap. Run! He yelled to Jason, adrenaline firing through his limbs. Get out of here! The boy hesitated, rooted to the ground, his feet unwilling to obey. But Alex now! Alex thundered, his voice deeper, more commanding. Jason darted to the entrance of the alley, the last strands of innocence trailing behind him. Yet one sudden move from the man sent Alex lunging forward, gripping his shoulder, intent on stopping him. "Do you think you can save him?" The man laughed, savage and cruel. "There's no escape for either of you." Alex swung his fist, connecting with the man's jaw. Pain shot up his arm, but he didn't care. The sound of a punch landing echoed through the alley, followed by the grunts of the man staggering back. For a brief moment, a flicker of hope ignited within him. "Run, Jason!" he shouted again, heart pounding in time with the agony rushing through his body. But just as the boy turned, the heavy hand of the towering figure closed around Alex's wrist, holding him in place. "Not so fast," he snarled, pulling Alex closer, his breath reeking of smoke and something sharper. With a pounding heart, Alex twisted, using every ounce of strength to break free. It was now or never. Jason was out, he had to finish this. "Tell me what you want with him," Alex demanded, desperate for answers even as the pressure mounted around him. The man's eyes glinted with dark delight. "The boy has something that will change everything, something you chose to abandon. Either join us, or watch it all burn like you burned everything else." A truth lurked behind those words, gnawing at Alex's resolve. He had once been part of something powerful, something he thought left behind. But now, that past was creeping back to claim its due. "Guess you'll have to watch, then," Alex shouted defiantly. With that, he summoned every last ounce of strength and broke free. But he could feel the man's grips slipping. The darkness of the alley felt even deeper, heavier now as he dashed toward the sunlight. But somewhere in that chaos, a new truth unfurled. In saving Jason, what would he sacrifice? Would he abandon his own past once and for all, or would it pull him back into its twisted grip? As Alex stepped into the light, the distant sounds of pursuit rang in his ears, and the promise of revelation loomed ever closer. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and fear as Alex burst into the street, panting. Heart hammering in his chest, he looked around, scanning for Jason. The boy was just a few feet away, his little frame trembling under the harsh buzz of the streetlights. But the shadows of the alley seemed to stretch and claw at Alex's memory, a reminder of how precarious their situation was. "Jason!" he called, his voice hoarse. "Get to the car." The boy nodded, his eyes wide, and sprinted toward the parked sedan, hands swinging at his sides. Alex felt a rush of pride mixed with dread. He couldn't let them take Jason. Not after everything. As Alex sprinted after him, the two figures emerged from the alley, dark shapes against the light. The men were relentless, part of a world Alex thought he had escaped. "You can't run forever, Alex." He ignored the taunts and dove into the passenger seat just as Jason slid into the driver's seat. "Go!" he shouted. The engine roared to life, and just as Jason's foot hit the accelerator, the tires screeched, sending them careening down the street. But the thrill of escape was short-lived. A car suddenly appeared in their rearview mirror, headlights glaring like monstrous eyes. "Faster!" Alex yelled, gripping the door handle as they sped through traffic. He could hear the rumble of the other vehicle inching closer. It had to be them. "What do we do?" Jason's voice cracked, panic creeping into his eyes. "Just keep going," Alex urged, digging deep into the reservoir of courage he didn't know he had. He couldn't let fear choke him. The stakes were too high now, and Jason was relying on him. The streets whizzed by in a blur, but Alex was hyper-focused. Each turn, every deviation felt like a life-or-death decision. Suddenly, the pursuing car swerved into another lane, cutting off a delivery truck that honked angrily. "Right here!" Alex pointed toward a narrow alley that could lead them to safety. Into that alleyway. He barely had time to grab the door as Jason turned sharply, tires screeching against the pavement. The old building that framed the alley loomed ahead, but the darkness felt ominous, almost like a gateway to another world. "Is this really safe?" Jason asked, eyes scanning the rearview. "It's got to be better than what they want," Alex replied, determination steadying his voice. As they ducked into the alley, The echo of their quickened breaths mingled with the sound of slamming doors and angry shouts from the pursuers. The walls were too close, the shadows seeping in around them. But it was too late to turn back now. Jason slammed on the brakes, the sudden jolt sending both boys lurching forward. "What now?" "Hide," Alex urged, adjusting his grip on the boy's shoulder, urgency coursing through him. They hurried out of the car, hastily ducking behind a dumpster. The frigid air was heavy with the stench of garbage and the looming specter of danger. Alex peered around the edge, holding his breath. The pursuing car screeched to a halt at the alley's mouth. Shadows jumped out, their figures tall and daunting. They were mere steps away, the thrill of the chase mingling with the body heat of fear clenching tight in Alex's gut. "I'll stay here." "You run if they get too close," Alex whispered. "No! I'm not leaving you," Jason protested, trembling. "Listen, they want you. If they find you here, it's over," Alex insisted, his voice low and firm. The sound of boots echoed against the damp concrete, each step like a drum beating in Alex's ears. He could feel the boy's panic in his own veins. This was supposed to be a simple night, a chance to forget their past. Now here they were cornered and racing against time. But an unsettling thought began to worm its way into his mind. Why would they come for Jason? What was this key they spoke of? Before he could ponder further, Jason's hand squeezed his arm tight. "Look!" The light at the alley's entrance flickered, a shadow stepping inside someone familiar. "Alex!" The figure called out, merging uncertainty with hope. Alex's heart raced. Had salvation come, or was it just another threat lurking in the chaos? He squinted into the gloom, barely able to comprehend the situation. "Get down!" he hissed, pulling Jason deeper into the shadows. The figure stepped closer, and Alex's heart plummeted. It was someone from his past, the very past he had tried so desperately to escape. "Alex, it's time to finish this," the voice echoed, steady and cold. Every instinct screamed at him to run. But Alex had to make a choice. Would he face the truth about his past, or would he let it consume both him and Jason? The chaos loomed in the air, thick and electric. As the truth began to unravel, a sense of dread gnawed at him. Would his past finally catch up with him and Jason? The figure stepped into the dull light of the alley, casting long shadows that danced around them. Alex squinted, the recognition slicing through him like a jagged knife. It was Ethan, a name tied to ghosts he'd buried deep. The years hadn't dulled his fierce gaze, or the swagger that made him both a savior and a monster in Alex's life. "What are you doing here?" Alex asked, his voice barely more than a whisper. "I came for you, obviously." "But you brought a guest," Ethan replied, a smirk playing at the corners of his lips. He leaned against the wall of the alley, arms crossed. His posture screamed confidence, but Alex sensed a danger lurking beyond that bravado. "Get out of here, Jason!" Alex barked, urgency turning his voice harsh. "No! I wouldn't leave you," Jason pleaded, eyes darting between the two men. He was terrified but also steadfast, like a little warrior refusing to abandon his comrade. "Would you listen?" Alex shot back, his thoughts racing. "They want Jason. It's not just me anymore. Is that what you think?" Ethan suddenly straightened, eyes narrowing. "You're a fool if you think it was ever just you. This is bigger than both of us." The echo of laughter from outside the alley grew closer, the voices of the pursuers mixing with the night air. Denial crept into Alex's mind. What did Ethan mean? What had Alex stumbled into? Why are they after him? Alex insisted, stepping toward Ethan, anger flaring within him. "Tell me what you know." "It's not about the boy. It's about the key, the one he has." Ethan's gaze flickered to Jason, a predatory glint flaring for just a moment. "He doesn't even realize what it means." Alex felt the ground beneath him shift. "What key?" he demanded. But the question hung in the air like a ghost, unanswered. Jason's breath hitched beside him, confusion written on his face. "I don't have any key," he whispered, trembling. "Trust me, kid," Ethan said, his expression shifting, laced with something that bordered on pity. They know you're special. That's why they've been hunting you down. Stop talking in riddles, Alex hissed, clenching his fists. What do they want from him? Ethan took a step closer, the shadows swallowing his face. Control. Power. Everything you've been trying to escape from. They consider you both assets, and no one likes loose ends. The clatter of footsteps echoed louder down the alley. Alex's mind raced. If they caught Jason, it would mean utter ruin. Listen, Ethan lowered his voice, desperation slipping in. I can help you, but you need to trust me. It's not going to be easy. You have to make a decision now. Why should I trust you? You're the last person I'd ever want by my side. Because if you don't, you're making the worst mistake of your life. They're coming for him, and time is running out. With a sudden crash, a trash bin toppled to the ground, its contents spilling like a broken promise. They were here, the men who had pursued him down the streets. This way. Alex grabbed Jason's arm, moving deeper into the alley. Just as they turned, a shadow loomed closer, menacing and relentless. Don't you want to know the truth? Ethan shouted after them, the urgency clear in his tone. What you've been hiding from could make everything clearer. Their footsteps quickened, desperation propelling Alex forward. Trust had been shattered. Yet, with Jason at his side, he felt the flicker of hope, urgent and fierce. Which way? Jason breathed out, eyes wide with fear. Left. Alex directed, adrenaline pulsing through him as they darted around the corner. But each step felt weighed down by impossible decisions, and the memories of a past that fought to pull him back in. Hidden truths were coiling tighter around him, waiting to explode. Who could he trust when everything hung in balance? As they ran, Alex's gut twisted with dread. Would they survive long enough to uncover the secrets at stake? Behind them, the sounds of pursuit escalated, relentless and raw. But as he ducked into the next street, he felt a new presence. Someone else was watching. Alex! A voice called from the darkness, bright and ominous. Was there safety ahead, or another betrayal looming in the shadows? The voice echoed again, cutting through the night like a cold blade. Alex's heartbeat quickened. He turned just in time to see a figure emerge from the shadows, the flickering light revealing a face he thought he'd never see again. It was Miranda, an old ally, someone who had once stood shoulder to shoulder with him against a common enemy. But could she still be trusted? What are you doing here? He asked, his eyes cautious. Miranda stepped closer, her face a mix of urgency and fear. I came looking for you both. I know what they want, she said, glancing behind as if she could hear the bloodhounds closing in. You don't have much time. We don't have time for this. Alex snapped, pulling Jason closer. Every minute felt like an eternity, the weight of all his choices crashing down on him. We need to get out, now. No, listen, she insisted, her voice firm. I can help you evade them, but we need the key Jason has. Alex felt a chill creep down his spine. Did she know more than Ethan? Why is it so important? Jason whimpered, desperately trying to catch his breath. Miranda knelt before him, meeting his gaze. Because it's not just a key. It's an access point to something massive, something they want to control. A crack of thunder rumbled overhead, signaling an impending storm, mirroring the upheaval in Alex's heart. What are you talking about? He demanded, his voice shaking. There are forces at play, Miranda explained, urgency growing in her tone. Others like you, Jason, who'll become targets if they find out you hold the key to it all. This is bigger than just us. It's about protecting the balance. We can't let them win. Behind them, the footfalls grew louder, closing in like a predator game that was about to reach its climax. Where do we go? Jason asked, his voice trembling, tears glistening in his eyes. Follow me, Miranda instructed, her voice anchored with confidence. She took a few steps back, scanning the alley. Trust me. I swear I can get you to safety. For a fleeting moment, Alex hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him to recall. Miranda had once been a friend, but was she still? Alex, Jason's plea broke through his thoughts. I'm scared. He looked down at the boy. Jason's small frame was already burdened with more than any child should carry. Alex's heart twisted, and he felt the creeping urge to protect him above all else. Okay, we'll trust her for now, he said, though doubt gnawed at him like a wild animal. They took off down the narrow alley, Jason's small hand gripping his tightly a lifeline against the growing darkness. Miranda led them through a series of back streets, her movements assured and swift. They weaved between buildings, the city's ambient sounds swallowed by their own desperate flight. Just a little further, she encouraged, glancing back occasionally. But as they approached a dimly lit intersection, the shadows seemed to pulse with malevolence. The sound of footsteps, now a cacophony, echoed ominously behind them. "Miranda!" Alex shouted, panic beginning to creep into his voice. What if suddenly, a figure stepped out of the shadows ahead, blocking their path? Alex recognized the silhouette instantly, the dark face crackling with hidden threats, someone they had all hoped never to see again. "Thought you could escape so easily?" The man sneered, his voice a mix of smoke and ice. The chill in the air thickened, wrapping tightly around them, and Alex realized the weight of their situation, the nightmare closing in. "Go! Run!" he yelled, willing Jason to move, but the boy stood frozen in fear, eyes wide. As Alex reached for Jason, another crunch of footsteps echoed from behind, tightening the net of danger closing in on them. With nowhere to turn, everything hung in the balance: trust, betrayal, hope, and dread, all swirling around a boy holding the key to their fate. "Jason, please!" Alex pleaded as the darkness closed in around them. Hope flickered, fragile and fleeting. Would they find a way out, or would they be ensnared in a trap more dangerous than anything they could have imagined? In the urgency of the moment, as light began to fade, a question loomed heavy: had they already sealed their fate? The moment stretched as Alex felt the world around him tightening like a noose. The figure blocking their path, a tall man with a menacing smirk, held a glint in his eyes that sent chills through his bones. He leaned forward, and the flickering light revealed a scar running down his cheek, a mark that spoke of battles won and lives lost, none too distant from their own. "Let us not waste time," the man taunted, shifting his weight. "I can smell the fear on you." He took a step closer, the darkness circling like a hungry predator. "Run! Now!" Alex shouted again, panic overtaking his voice. He never thought he would have to push Jason like this. Nothing about their escape had prepared him for this raw terror. Miranda moved into action, urgency flooding her features. "This way!" she shouted as she turned, grabbing Alex's arm and pulling him towards a narrow alleyway to the right. Alex felt the heat of danger as they slipped past the looming figure, but fear kept Jason glued in place. "Jason!" Alex's heart raced, each second stretching thin. He lunged back, wrapping his arms around the boy, yanking him into motion. "Move, please!" With a scream, engulfed in tears, Jason stumbled forward as Alex and Miranda propelled him along, pushing him to run. They tore down the alley, the shadows closing in behind them, laughter and footsteps echoing like thunder as they careened through the darkness. They dashed through a maze of litter-strewn streets, flickering streetlights barely illuminating their path. The air was thick, the night almost tangible with the smell of rain and fear. Alex's lungs burned, but he couldn't afford to slow down. Every crunch of gravel beneath their feet felt like a countdown ticking away. "Turn here," Miranda called, pointing to a staircase leading up to a nearby rooftop. The thought sent a spike of dread through him. Heights never were his thing, but there was no choice. "Climb," Miranda urged, scrambling up first, and Alex followed close behind, Jason close at his heels. They reached the rooftop gasping for breath, and for a moment, all they could do was listen. The city was alive beneath them, distant voices mingling with the angry wind. Alex could feel the adrenaline pumping through his veins, but the fear for Jason propelled him even more. "Where do we go now?" Jason whispered, his youthful voice strained with sobs, his small frame trembling dangerously close to breaking under the pressure. "There's a way down on the other side," Miranda panted. "But we have to be quick." Suddenly, a loud crash rang through the air, and Alex's heart dropped. It was the sound of something dark and menacing breaching the rooftop door they had escaped from. "They're coming!" He clutched Jason's shoulder, locking eyes with the boy. "You stick close to me, no matter what. Understand?" Jason nodded, terror wide in his eyes, and Alex squeezed him reassuringly, all while feeling the urgency suffocating them like a storm cloud. "Now!" Miranda shouted, bounding towards the edge, leaping down to the next rooftop. But before Alex could follow, he heard a low growl, reverberating through the night. The door slammed open, and another figure plunged through the smoke and shadows. "Catch them!" The figure ordered in a voice that sent a shock of recognition through Alex's body. It was someone he knew, someone he thought he had left behind forever. Glaring at him with an intensity that could burn through stone from the edge of the rooftop, the reality of their situation crashed down. Had trusting Miranda been the wrong play? Would they be swallowed by those shadows they thought they had escaped? "Alex! We need to go!" Miranda screamed. Fear surged through him, anger rocketing into his gut. They were cornered, and yet here stood a figure from his past, a ghost he thought didn't exist anymore. The air was electric with tension, and as Alex took a step forward, his heart raced, knowing deep down he had to find out what this figure wanted. Was it revenge or redemption? "Run!" Miranda urged again as she pulled at Alex's arm, but his feet felt like lead. Would they face this head on with mystery against them, or would they flee into the unknown? The shadows were thickening, and the clock was ticking. What awaited them next could change everything forever. Would they find the strength to fight back, or would fear drive them apart? The tension was palpable, and Alex felt like he was caught in a whirlwind. Miranda's desperate voice cut through the haze, but he was rooted to the spot. This figure was not just a specter from the past. He was a living nightmare, the one person who had haunted Alex's dreams for years. "Alex! Please!" Miranda's voice rose, pulling him out of the fog. She was edging closer to the drop, her eyes darting nervously between him and the figure below. With a jolt of adrenaline, Alex shook off his paralysis. "We have to go. Now!" He took one last look at the shadowy figure, only to find the smirk had transformed into a snarl. The familiar face twisted into something grotesque, resembling a predator about to pounce. "Run, Alex! You can't let him catch you!" Jason's voice trembled, urging him forward. The innocence in Jason's words ignited something deep within Alex. He couldn't let this end here. He had to protect him. Without a second thought, Alex took the leap, following Miranda down to the next rooftop. His stomach dropped as gravity momentarily took over, but he landed awkwardly, rolling to absorb the impact. Pain shot through him, but adrenaline dulled the sting. "Come on, Jason!" he yelled, beckoning for the boy while glancing back. Jason appeared, shaking but determined, following Alex's lead. Just as he was about to make the jump, Alex's gut twisted at the sight of the figure climbing up the stairs they had just abandoned. Time was slipping through their fingers like sand. Miranda rushed to grab Jason, her voice sharp with urgency. "You can do this!" With a burst of determination, Jason jumped, and they tumbled into a narrow pathway between buildings. Breathing hard, they darted down the dimly lit corridor. Each breath Alex took was filled with dread, mingling with the damp air as the sound of footsteps echoed behind them. "Where do we go now?" Jason pleaded, wild-eyed and gasping. "There's an old service hatch. If we can get there, we might be able to lose him," Miranda replied, glancing over her shoulder. Fear intensified her gaze, and Alex felt it mirror in his own heart. They rounded a corner, and Alex's stomach dropped as he spotted the hatch at the end of the alley. But the loud growl returned, echoing off the walls, mingling with the thundering of their hearts. "Get inside! Now!" Alex shouted, forcing Jason ahead of him, pushing him toward the hatch. He felt the weight of every breath they took and the fear they shared. The three of them squeezed into the cramped space just as the figure entered the alleyway, the shadows coming alive around them. "What if he follows?" Jason's voice quivered in the darkness, a terrified whisper that bled into Alex's already fraying nerves. "Just stay close. Miranda insisted, her voice steady despite the panic. We'll figure this out. As they huddled close together, the noise grew louder, the footsteps, the laughter, the taunting. Alex's heart raced, drumming in his chest, drowning out everything else. The darkness seemed to press in from all sides, heavy and suffocating. Suddenly, just as they thought they had a moment of reprieve, a loud crash echoed off the walls. The hatch rattled, and the figure's familiar voice rang clear. I know you're in there. You can't hide forever. Alex's blood turned to ice. Panic clawed at his throat. They had run, but now they were trapped, and something told him this figure knew much more than he had ever let on. What was this man really after? As they shivered in the dark, dread gripped Alex's heart once more. It was time to rise or be crushed under the weight of their fears. Beneath the laughter of the shadows, a haunting thought settled in. If they didn't find a way out soon, they might lose everything or everyone. Just then, the door slammed open, light flooding the small space. Found you. In that instant, an unescapable choice lay before them: face the monster or let the darkness consume their very souls. What would they choose? The light poured in like an unwelcome flood, blinding for a moment. Alex squinted against it, panic surging as he spotted the shadow of the figure, standing triumphant in the doorway to their hiding place. The cold metal glint of a weapon shone dangerously in his hand, a grim promise of what was to come. Gotcha, the man sneered, his voice dripping with malice, sending a shiver down Alex's spine. He stepped inside, confident, as if the very shadows obeyed him. Jason cowered behind Alex, his fear palpable. The boy's small hand trembled against Alex's arm, and he felt the weight of Jason's terror pressing against him like a crushing wave. Don't you touch him! Alex roared, stepping in front of Jason, his protective instincts flaring. You want me? I'm right here. His heart raced, each pulse pounding with urgency. But inside, self-doubt gnawed like rats in the dark corners of his mind. How could he face this man? Look at you like a rabbit in a trap, the figure mocked, his eyes narrowing. You always did have a flair for the dramatics. In that moment, Alex felt the chains of his past bind him tighter, suffocating his resolve. Memories flooded, fleeing, fighting, failing. The weight of those old wounds felt fresh. But then he glanced back at Jason, standing wide-eyed behind him, and a surge of purpose ignited within him. Run! Alex shouted, shoving Jason toward the opposite end of the hatch. Get out now, and don't look back. But the boy hesitated, glued by fear, thunder echoing in his chest, too terrified to move. But what about you? Go! The command shattered the air like glass. Alex's heart tightened. He couldn't let this boy suffer his fate. They were so close to safety he could almost taste it. Miranda surged forward, her energy fierce and unyielding. We'll find a way. Trust me. She grabbed Jason's arm, pulling him toward the opening. Now, before he gets to you. Don't be stupid. The man snarled, eyes narrowing with fury. He lunged toward them, but Alex exploded into motion, barreling forward to intercept. The chaos of the moment heightened, spinning around them, every second a battle for breath and life. Before the figure could lay hands on Jason, Alex sidestepped, launching himself into the man's chest with every ounce of strength he could muster. They crashed together, tumbling into the narrow space, a blur of anger and desperation. It felt like flying for a heartbeat, the air rushing like a wild river as they collided with the ground. Jason hesitated for only a moment, panic clawing at his insides before Miranda yanked him forward. Run! Now! Those explosive words propelled him outside, away from the darkness consuming Alex inside. Every muscle in Jason's small frame screamed in protest as he sprinted towards the fluorescent glow of streetlights waiting beyond the alley. Jason! Keep going! Alex shouted, adrenaline fueling him as he pushed against the man, wrestling for time. But the shadowy figure gripped his collar, yanking him back with a growl. Alex could feel the tension coiling like a snake, ready to strike. You think you can just run away? You're mine, Alex, and this boy is the bridge to everything you left. You don't get to choose. With a final surge of determination, Alex heaved backward, breaking the grip, the moment stretching like a rubber band ready to snap. He needed a plan, a way out. He glanced toward Jason, who was sprinting towards safety. Gasps of dread filled the space as Jason turned back, eyes glistening with fear. "Go, Jason!" Alex roared, desperation igniting his voice. "Trust me. I'll be right behind you." Fear propelled Jason forward, his heartbeat in tandem with the chaos. Alex felt an odd sense of pride strength pulsing through him as he clawed through memories of his past to awaken a warrior inside. The echoes of his childhood draped over him, but now it was different. Now it was a choice. With newfound clarity, Alex gathered his breath and stood tall, confronting the man who represented everything he had fled. "You don't own me anymore. I'm not afraid of you or the shadows of the past. I have something you can't take from me, a choice, a hope, and I will protect him." The man smirked, amusement flickering in his gaze. "That courage will get you nowhere." But Alex didn't flinch. Reversing time, he saw the path ahead, the boy clinging to hope, feet pounding against pavement, resilient like a flame against a storm. "I will not let you hurt him." In a blur, he charged once more, adrenaline fueling raw energy. As he swung, fists connecting, each impact felt like a floodgate bursting. The light of hope hit him with every punch, unraveling the grip of the past with every strike. And finally he felt it, the dark oppressed weight lifting, revealing an opening. Miranda's fierce determination echoed through the chamber of chaos. "Alex! Go! We have to get to him!" With one final push, Alex barreled forward, sprinting past the chaos, toward the defining line, freedom waiting on the other side as the shadows began to ripple. "Jason!" he shouted, beckoning him closer as he sprinted from the dark tide of danger. Jason turned, and in that crucial moment, his eyes locked with Alex's, the understanding hanging between them like the sweetest euphoria, the bond of trust sealed, unwavering against fear. And then, they were together. In the distance, the sounds of pursuit faded like mist, the shadows retreating like scared animals. Together they ran, breathless but liberated. The presence of childhood scars still lingered, a reminder of battles fought. But Alex felt something else, a shift. A new day was dawning. With Jason beside him, everything was different. Freedom wasn't just a destination anymore, it was a journey. As they emerged into the world outside, the sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating the path ahead. And for the first time in years, Alex let himself breathe. The future was unclear, but he was ready to forge it. "Let us go," he whispered to Jason, and together they stepped into the light. You need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the climax. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion.